If you love hard-hitting action, intense gunfights, and next-level adrenaline, this video is made for you, so don't skip it. And make sure you stay until number 1, because that film is the biggest blockbuster of the month. Hey everyone, welcome to Cinedesi Picks. Today we're counting down the 8 best brand new action movies of February 2026. Films so intense, they'll keep you glued to your seat. So let's jump straight into the countdown. What if a retired pirate became the John Wick of the seas to save her family? You've never seen Priyanka Chopra Jonas in a more ruthless form. Set in the 19th century Caribbean, the story follows Ursula, a former pirate queen who has buried her violent past to live a quiet life. But her peace is shattered when her former captain, a ruthless enemy from her past, returns seeking revenge. With her family in danger, Ursula is forced to pick up the sword she swore never to use again. The mother becomes a deadly pirate once more. What follows is a brutal survival battle across the open sea, as she turns against her own former crew in a fight where there are no rules, only blood and survival. Can Ursula protect her family from the horrors of her past? Or will everything sink in this violent war at sea? The action here is wild, relentless, and absolutely explosive. If you love the high seas action and adventure vibe of Pirates of the Caribbean, this film is made for you. The film is The Bluff, releasing on Amazon Prime Video on February 25th, 2026. When a drug cartel controls an entire town and the law turns a blind eye, justice doesn't come from the courtroom. It comes from the gun of a single soldier. The story follows a mysterious drifter who is actually a former Special Forces commando struggling with deep war trauma and PTSD. He arrives in a small town terrorized by a ruthless drug lord named Jeremiah, where the people live in constant fear. The cartel believes they can crush this stranger without effort, but they chose the wrong man. What begins next is a brutal one-man war. The soldier unleashes relentless destruction against the entire syndicate, igniting a storm of bullets and raw, non-stop action. Can one man wipe out an entire armed cartel, or will the ghosts of his past break him first? The action here is raw, brutal, and unforgiving. If you love one-man army action in the style of Rambo or The Equalizer, this film will not disappoint. The film is Hellfire, available to rent or buy on Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, and Google Play. When a serial killer brutally murders a cop's husband right in front of her, she doesn't wait for justice. She goes hunting. The story follows Kansas Patrol Officer Jane Archer, whose life is shattered when a masked murderer known as the Satanic Slasher viciously kills her husband. The system moves slowly, but Jane is fueled by vengeance. She goes rogue, abandoning the rules to track the killer herself. What follows is a terrifying nationwide game of cat and mouse. On one side is a sadistic killer searching for the next victim. On the other is Jane, now a relentless predator closing in. Can Jane stop the masked monster before he claims another life? Or will this blind pursuit of revenge turn her into something just as dangerous? The thriller elements are dark, brutal, and uncompromising. If you enjoy high-stakes revenge thrillers and slasher horror, this bloody crime story is a must-watch. The film is Psycho Killer. It will stream soon on Disney Plus Hotstar, and by April 2026, it will also be available for rental on Amazon Prime Video and Apple TV. What happens if you're locked alone in a room with a brutal murder suspect? This film tells the story of a terrifying psychological mind game. The story takes place in a small town shaken by the brutal murders of 6 women. Police have arrested a suspect named Lincoln. The twist begins when an ordinary man named Max volunteers at the prison to read books to him. Max believes he's simply doing a good deed, but unknowingly he steps into a web of lies, madness, and buried violence. Inside that sealed prison room, the suspect begins creeping into Max's mind through chilling conversations. Max is no longer just a reader, he has become the newest piece in a dangerous psychological game. Is Lincoln truly the killer? And can Max escape this mental torture? Or will he become trapped inside it? If you enjoy intense psychological crime thrillers like The Silence of the Lambs, where terror hides within conversation itself, this film is a must-watch. The film is The Huntsman, available to rent or buy on Amazon Prime Video and Apple TV. What if a fungus emerged that could melt humans from the inside out? How long would it take for the world to collapse? This film delivers a terrifying blend of survival and horror. The story begins inside a secret underground military vault, where an ancient, highly contagious fungus is accidentally released. Once it enters the human body, it consumes its host from within, reducing them to liquid. Stopping the outbreak falls to a retired bioterror agent, played by Liam Neeson, and 2 ordinary night shift workers. They have no weapons. They have almost no time. It becomes a desperate race against the clock inside a sealed storage facility, as they struggle to contain the evolving organism before it escapes. Can an aging agent and 2 ordinary workers stop an extinction-level threat? Or will the fungus consume everything in its path? If you enjoy sci-fi survival horror with claustrophobic tension and constant danger, this is a must-watch. The film is Cold Storage. It releases in theaters today, February 20th, 2026, and will soon be available for rental or streaming on Amazon Prime Video. anyone can fight with guns and bombs. But what if one man used nothing more than a pen and an official stamp to outsmart Hitler's Nazi regime? Set during World War II in 1942, the story follows Gösta Engel, a quiet and unassuming government clerk whom no one takes seriously. But when Nazi persecution reaches unbearable levels, he discovers a loophole in the system. By issuing visas, he begins saving Jewish refugees, requiring only the smallest proof of a Swedish connection to grant them safety. This mission is far from easy. Gösta's battle isn't only against the ruthless Nazis outside, but also against his own government and his superior Staffen, who is determined to keep Sweden neutral at any cost. This is bureaucratic warfare, where the weapons aren't bullets but paperwork, and one small mistake could mean the death of thousands. If you appreciate historical survival thrillers based on true events like Schindler's List, this powerful film is a must-watch. The film is The Swedish Connection, released globally on Netflix on February 19th, 2026. A thief no one can catch. No fingerprints, no evidence. He moves like air, and in seconds he's gone, taking millions with him. The story follows a master jewel thief planning the biggest and final heist of his life. He believes he's untouchable, that this time nothing can go wrong. But everything changes when his path crosses with a woman trapped in troubles of her own. At the same time, a relentless detective is tracking his every move. Now, this is no longer just a game of stealing, it's a fight for survival. Will this be his perfect masterstroke, or his biggest mistake? When the hunter becomes the hunted and every exit is closed, is a perfect crime still possible? If you love mind-bending heists and fast-paced chase sequences, this movie is a must-watch. The film is Crime 101, a gripping crime thriller releasing in theaters on February 13th, 2026. If $28 billion were on the line, and the only way to claim it was to eliminate 7 members of your own family, would you do it? This film delivers a wickedly entertaining dark comedy about greed, betrayal, and a deadly game for fortune. The story follows Beckett Redfellow, who was cast out of his billionaire family the moment he was born. Years later, after his mother's death, he discovers he may have a rightful claim to a staggering $28 billion inheritance. There's just one small problem. Standing between Beckett and the fortune are 7 relatives, so he devises a clever, dangerous, and disturbingly funny plan to remove them one by one. This isn't a typical murder mystery. It's a dark killing spree, where every death unfolds in bizarre and unexpected ways. Will Beckett succeed in his bloody plan, or fall victim to a relative who's playing the same deadly game? How far can a person fall for money? The answer may shock you. The film is How to Make a Killing, and it's available on Amazon Prime Video and Apple TV rental. Silence is your greatest weapon. A remote island, a violent storm, and one man hiding from the world until trouble finds him anyway. Living alone deep in the wild forests of Scotland, a mysterious man rescues a young girl from a brutal storm. What he doesn't realize is that she's not alone. She's carrying death with her. His hidden life is shattered when enemies from his past finally track him down. Now he must protect the girl not only from nature's fury, but from heavily armed killers closing in fast. Can one man stand against an entire army? When ghosts from the past come knocking, there's no escape, only the choice to fight. If you enjoy Jason Statham's raw, hard-hitting action mixed with an emotional survival story, this film is for you. The movie is Shelter, a powerful action thriller released in theaters on January 30th, 2026.